Good morning, students. After this, we come to know that King Tut's what things were found in King Tut's tomb. The list of the gold things found, like numerous artifacts of pure gold, precious collars, amulets, inlaid necklaces, bracelets, rings, ceremonial apron, sandals, seeds for fingers and toes, and even the coffin and mask. All the things were of pure gold. After separating King Tut's from its coffin, he was provided a wooden box which was filled with sand. In the coming paragraph, we are going to learn how archaeology changed with the time. Archaeology has changed substantially in the intervening means coming decades, focusing less on treasure and more on the fascinating details of life and intriguing means knowing mysteries of death. Archaeology has changed substantially, greatly in the coming decades. Decade is for 10 years. In 10 years, archaeology has changed. Now, archaeology focuses less on treasure but more on knowing the details of life and the mysteries of death. Actually, the archaeology of past time focused more on making the list of treasure found, collecting the treasure, the things, precious things found in the tomb. But now archaeology has changed. Now archaeology focus less on the things found but more on the details of life and knowing the mysteries of death. It also uses more sophisticated tools. Sophisticated means developed tools. In today's archaeology, more refined tools are used, including medical technology. In today's archaeology, medical technology is also used like CT scan, X-ray. In 1968, more than 40 years late after Carter's discovery, an anatomy professor X-rayed the mummy and revealed a startling fact beneath in what happened in 1968. This is an important question which can be asked from this paragraph. Another question can be asked, what changes have come or what changes do you notice in ancient archaeology and modern archaeology? Now, what happened in 1968? In 1968, more than 40 years after the discovery of Carter's mummy, and matlab the professor who is intelligent, human body, studying human body, an anatomy professor x-rayed the mummy and revealed a startling fact that beneath the resin that cakes means covered his chest, his breastbone and front ribs are missing. In 1968, King Tut's mummy was x-rayed and a startling fact was revealed that beneath the resin is the sticky thing which was with which King Tut's chest was covered. Beneath that sticky thing that covered King Tut's chest, King Tut's breastbone and front ribs were missing. It was found in 1968 in the X-ray that King Tut's breastbone and front ribs were missing. Today, diagnostic imaging can be done with computed tomography or CT. CT full form is computed tomography, by which hundreds of X-rays in cross-section are put together like slices of bread to create a three-dimensional virtual body. What more would a CT scan reveal of Tut than the X-ray? And would it answer two of the biggest questions still lingering, still unknown about him? How did he die? And how old was he at the time of his death? It is certain questions are raised. Although today computed tomography has been done, in which hundreds of X-rays, at that time only one X-ray was done in 1968, but now through CT scan hundreds of X-rays can be done in cross section, and it can be put like slices of bread, one layer, two layer, means um, uh, creating three-dimensional virtual body. Virtual means real body. Means CT scan can be done creating a real body on the screen. What more would but a question has been raised, can a CT scan tell more than than an X-ray, and could it answer the two biggest questions which are still unknown? The first one is, how did King die and how old was he at the time of his death? Means uh, they are raising question, can CT scan unravel the secrets behind King Tut's death? Now students, we are going to learn about King Tut's life history. King Tut's demise means death, was a big event. King Tut's death was a big event. How? Even by royal standards. As I have already told you, he was the last of his family line, and his funeral was the death rattle of a dynasty. But the particulars of his passing away and its aftermath are unclear. King Tut's death was a big event, even by royal standards, because he was the last of his family line, and his funeral was the death rattle of a dynasty. With his death, the complete dynasty ended. But the particulars, the details related to King Tut's death and what have happened afterwards are unclear. Still, it is not certain how he died and what happened after his death. Now come to King Tut's father or grandfather, Amenhotep III. Amenhotep III, Tut's father or grandfather, it's not clear. He was a powerful pharaoh who ruled for almost 4 decades at the height of the 18th dynasty's golden age. Amenhotep III was a powerful pharaoh who ruled for almost 40 years. 4 decades means 40 years, and he ruled to the height of 18th dynasty's golden age, to the golden age of the dynasty. His son Amenhotep IV succeeded him. After Amenhotep III, Amenhotep IV was the successor, and initiated one of the strangest periods in the history of ancient Egypt. His ruling time is quite important. Amenhotep 3, 4, because when he came he made many changes, and the period in the history, in the period in which he ruled, it is called the strangest period in the history of ancient Egypt. How? It is described in this paragraph. The new Pharaoh means Amenhotep IV, promoted the worship of Aten, the sun disk, the sun god, changed his name to Akhenaten, or servant of the Aten, and moved the religious capital from the old city of Thebes to the new city of Akhetaten, known now as Amarna. He further shocks the country by attacking Amun, a major god, smashing his images and closing his temples. Many changes were brought by Amenhotep IV. First of all, he promoted the worship of god Aten, which was sun disk. Then he changed his name from Amenhotep IV to Akhenaten to show his worship towards god Aten, and he moved the religious capital from Thebes to Akhetaten. Now Akhetaten is known as Amarna. What things were done by him? He started worshipping god Aten, changed his name to Akhenaten from Amenhotep IV to Akhenaten to show his devotion towards god Aten. He shifted the religious capital from Thebes to Akhetaten. He further shocked the country by attacking Amun, a major god, smashing his images and closing his temples. It must have been a horrific time, said Ray Johnson. He also shocked the people by attacking Amun, which was a major god at that time. What he did, he smashed his images and closed his temples. Murtiyan tod di god Amun ki, and closed the temples. He must, and it was stated by Ray Johnson, who was the director of the University of Chicago's Research Center in Luxor. He stated that it must have been a horrific time for the people, because the people who used to worship god Amun, they must felt bad. And he also stated, Ray Johnson also stated, the family that had ruled for centuries was coming to an end, and then Akhenaten went a little wacky. Wacky means eccentric. Eccentric means irregular. Why is Akhenaten called wacky by Ray Johnson? So in answering this question, we need to describe all the things done by Amenhotep IV when he started ruling. I suppose this paragraph is also clear to all of you. After Akhenaten's death, a mysterious ruler named Smenkhare appeared briefly and exited with hardly a trace, and then a very young Tutankhaten took the throne, and King Tut, as he is widely known today. After Akhenaten's death, a mysterious ruler, who is mysterious, he came rule for a very brief period, and he exited with hardly any trace. He did not do anything special. He just came, ruled for a very short period of time, and then exited, left from there. And after Smenkre came a very young ruler, Tutankhaten. He took the throne and he is popularly widely known as King Tut today. All of you, it means Tut's actual name was Tutankhaten. When he started ruling, the boy king soon changed his name to Tutankhamun. He also did certain changes. When Tutankhaten started ruling, he changed his name from Tutankhaten to Tutankhamun, living image of Amun. He also wanted to show his devotion to God Amun, and he tried to restore means bring back the old ways, the old time which had been at the time of Amenhotep III's uh, time. He reigned for about 9 years and then died unexpectedly. As we all know, King Tut was just a teenager when he died. He started ruling at the age of um, 9, and he started ruling at the age of, it is given in the beginning, um, 4 or 5 years. He ruled for 9 years, but unexpectedly he died. No reason is clear now. If someone asks you who was Tutankhaten, describe his life, then in that condition we or in that situation we can say Tutankhaten was the king of Egypt. He was the last heir of his family line. When he started ruling, he changed his name from Tutankhaten to Tutankhamun to show himself the living image of God Amun. He tried to restore the old ways. He ruled for about 9 years and then died unexpectedly. I hope up to this the things are clear to all of you. Thank you, beta.